Welcome to the Deep Dive by OVTLYR, where we uncover the market's hidden trends and give you the edge you need. Head on over to OVTLYR.com right now to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk today. Now let's jump right in.
All right, so let's talk exits. You know that moment every startup founder dreams of, when all their hard work pays off, investors celebrate, and everyone's popping champagne.
Yeah, the big payoff.
Exactly. IPOs. Those initial public offerings are like the classic exit strategy. But the market, it's been a bit quiet lately.
Oh, slow, yeah.
But guess what? Things are heating up, and in a place you might not expect.
Where?
China.
Oh, wow, China. Interesting.
Yeah, so before we really dive in, I want to do a super quick refresher for anyone who might, need a little reminder. What is an IPO?
Yeah, good idea.
So an IPO, it's simply a private company going public. They're selling shares on a stock exchange. It's their chance to raise serious capital. Early investors, they get to finally cash in. And everyday folks like you and me, we can actually buy a piece of the action.
It's kind of like getting in on the ground floor.
Exactly. So why all of a sudden buzz around Chinese IPOs? Well, we've got a stack of expert analysis, recent IPO examples. Yeah. And I even snuck in some extra insights into what's driving this whole trend. By the end of this deep dive, you will be dropping knowledge bombs at your next meeting. Guaranteed.
Sounds good. I'm ready.
All right, let's kick things off with a OVTLYR. A Chinese company developing self-driving cars just went public on the NASDAQ. And their stock popped nearly 7% on day one.
Wow, that's impressive.
Right. It's a pretty good sign.
It is, especially considering how, things have been for Chinese companies trying to list in the U.S. since, well, the whole Didi situation back in 2021.
The Didi debacle was a wild ride.
It was a wild ride, Didi, a ride-hailing giant.
Think like the Uber of China. Right.
Exactly. It had a massive U.S. IPO. Everyone was so excited. But then,
Oh, no.
Yeah, then both U.S. and Chinese regulators, they started digging into their data security practices. Investigations launched, investor confidence just plummeted. And Didi, they were forced to delist from the New York Stock Exchange less than a year later.
Wow, what a disaster.
It was. It sent shockwaves through the market.
Yeah.
And it made a lot of other Chinese companies really hesitant about going public in the U.S.
Yeah, it's a major turning point.
Yeah.
But now it seems like the tide is turning. Marcy Ellis, a global expert on private equity at Morrison Foerster. She says things have changed. For the better, U.S. and Chinese regulators, they've cleared up some of the confusion around the listing process, the U.S. election. That's behind us. And there's even talk of interest rates going down in 2025.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a perfect storm brewing for IPOs.
That's true. But even with the rules being clearer, the U.S. and China, they're still kind of playing this geopolitical chess match. And that's why we're seeing Hong Kong become a real hotbed for Chinese IPOs, almost like a safe haven.
Like in the middle of a storm.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Hong Kong, we've seen some big names make their debut there recently. Horizon Robotics, a company developing AI and chips for cars.
Yep.
And CR Beverage, a major player in the bottled water market. Both had successful IPOs in Hong Kong. And get this, these were actually the largest Hong Kong IPOs of the year, excluding those from mainland China.
Wow, that's interesting. So why is Hong Kong so attractive?
Well, it's attractive for a couple of reasons. First, it's kind of like a testing ground. Chinese companies can dip their toes into the international market, see how investors react to their company.
Like a trial run.
Exactly.
And they're determined to make their mark on the global stage.
It's inspiring, really. It shows what's possible when you combine vision, determination, and a willingness to embrace new ideas.
I agree. It's a reminder that the future is not predetermined, that we can shape it with our choices, our actions, and our commitment to progress.
Well said. So as we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought to ponder. We've talked about the rise of China, the surge in Chinese IPOs, and the lessons we can learn from their approach. But what does this all mean for you? How can you apply these insights to your own life, your own career, your own investments?
That's the ultimate question, isn't it? How do we translate knowledge into action?
Exactly. And I think the answer lies in embracing those same principles we've been discussing, setting ambitious goals, experimenting with new approaches, and focusing relentlessly on execution. Whether you're an entrepreneur launching a new venture, an investor seeking opportunities, or simply someone who wants to stay ahead of the curve, these principles can guide you on your journey.
Well said. It's about adopting a growth mindset, being open to new possibilities, and having the courage to pursue your dreams. Because in a world that's changing as rapidly as ours, the only constant is change itself. And those who can adapt, innovate, and execute will be the ones who thrive.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. It's been an enlightening journey.
The pleasure was all mine. Until next time.
Hey, thanks so much for deep diving with us today. Head on over to OVTLYR.com. That's OVTLYR.com to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk today. And we'll see you next time.